Hey guys. Okay, so today, oh, a squirrel, literally on cue there. Today I'm back in my homeland of Rotherham, and as you can see, I'm in this beautiful place that I love, which I come to every day to walk. And today I wanted to talk to you about the Einstein quote, which is, the most important choice that we make is whether we live in a friendly or hostile universe. And me and my brother and my sister-in-law have been talking about this quote a lot this week, and it's one that I really try and remind myself and live my life by. And it's one that we default to quite often, to the negative, so living in a hostile universe. And why does that matter? Why is that important? So if we're defaulting from a survival perspective, so our brains are set up for threat, from the survival perspective to the hostile universe, then we will expect other things to be more negative. We will expect other people to be coming from a negative space, a hostile space. When we come from a friendly universe place, we expect the best. We expect the best from other people, and we expect the best for ourselves. And this really plays out in lots of different ways. So what was really interesting is when I was over in Dublin with my family, they've got this community group, and the community group is like a Facebook group or a WhatsApp or whatever, where they're like messaging about things happening in the community. And there's an awful lot of people calling out things that they don't think are right. And one of them was, they were going on about this dog. So it was this dog barking away, and it had been out in this garden and barking, and somebody had complained and said that they were going to call the equivalent of the NSPCA there, and other people were chiming in and saying, well, have you actually spoke to the owners? And they were saying, oh, we can't get hold of them, and it's despicable, it's disgusting, and people like piling on like, this is unbelievable, how could you leave a dog in this situation? And finally this woman gets added to the group, and she puts this long post on, and the post that she puts on is, look, it's my house, the dog is my mum's, and she's recently gone into end of life care, and that's why the dog, because it's her dog and it's having separation anxiety, and we don't know what to do, and we're going in and out of the hospice and trying to look after her, and so that's why the dog's been outside, and it's only been for 2 days while we're working out what to do. And of course then the whole group changes their opinion entirely. And I've seen this pattern before in Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He said that he was on a tube in London, and this bit's really pretty as well. He was on a tube in London, and there was this guy with these kids, and the kids were just messing about and really upsetting everybody who's on their commute and causing loads of fuss. And Stephen Covey, being the man that he was like, I can address this. So he kind of went over and was like, excuse me, sir, could you please keep your children under control? And the guy was like, oh God, I'm so sorry. I didn't even notice. We've just got back from the hospital and my wife has died. I don't even know. I'll try and look after him. And then of course everybody on the train is helping him. And that's the thing, when we come from that perspective of the world as a hostile place, we expect the worst of others. We expect that the things they're doing come from the worst place. We don't give people the benefit of the doubt as a given. And this starts to play out in lots of different ways, because it starts to play out in our experience of the world. Because if you choose to see the world as a friendly place, then how you interact with people, even, we were talking about this example, when someone's walking towards you, do you smile at them? Because are you being warm and welcoming, expecting them to be a friendly person? Or do you look away? Do you immediately go into a hostile place with them, thinking that they will reject you or they'll be hostile to you? Are you waiting to have the hostile hypothesis confirmed, or are you actively seeking your friendly universe? And this is really, it affects so many parts of our lives. So for me, I've seen this play out in a really macro level of, are things working out for me? you know, so the things that have been my challenges, it was me and my brother were talking. I spent so many years consuming media, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, people, so many years doing those things. And yet now at this point in my life, I look back and I think, God, you know, what I could have been doing with those years. You know, I could have been learning, I could have been developing, I could have been reading, you know. And I don't watch any TV now. I don't take any drugs. I try and eat the healthiest stuff I can eat. I don't drink. You know, I do all of these different things now that promote the healthiness in my life. And he was saying, oh, you know, you don't know what those other things have given you, and you don't want to look at it in that regretted place. And I think, yeah, that's true, but I do, you know, I do feel that way. So that's my hostile universe, like, oh, you know, that happened to me and it's robbed me of these years and what I could have done with those years. And I was like, hang on a minute, because he was saying, well, what would you say to one of your clients? So I was like, what would I say to one of my clients? And I was working it through and I was like, oh, and this is when we went for a beautiful dinner at that place that I put in one of the pictures called Betsy's. It was so beautiful. Had the best steak ever as well, lush. And what I realized was that it is because of, not in spite of, the fact that I essentially had so many years MIA, that now I am so driven and so dedicated. Like my sister-in-law, when I was there, she was like, you really preach what you practice, because I know it's very easy for people to say all these things but not actually do them, not actually get up and do the things every day that are tough, that you don't want to do. Like, oh, one day my back was hurting, I didn't want to go for a run. I was like, I don't want to do it, I'm in so much pain, and I did it. It was my slowest run time that I've had, but I did it. And what does all this have to do with hostile universe? I feel like I kind of got tethered a little. But the fact is, that was working out for me, because if I hadn't have had all those other experiences, I wouldn't be the person I am today recording this for you. So is the world, or is the universe, a friendly place? Are things working out for me? Yeah. And when I make that decision, I see the world, you know, the reticular activating system, that point in the brain that looks for the things that are most important or salient to us. Like if you buy a particular brand of trainers, and then you'll see that brand of trainers everywhere. That's that part of our brain that's like an alert system that goes, notice this. So you'll notice all the good stuff. Now, last little example I'll give you in this is Bruce Perry and What Happened to You. He was talking about the fact that there was this guy at the airport and he was just kicking off, and the flight was delayed, and he was doing work, and he was grumpy, he was sat there in his full suit, and he's just like so unhappy. He's reading the newspaper, and he's like having a go at the people, you know, on the cabin bit, and basically everybody else is avoiding him, and everybody else is like, you're a dick. But this little girl, she goes over to him and she starts playing with him, and she's playing with the paper and pulling it down. And initially he's like, ugh, but she keeps doing that because she thinks him being horrible is a game. She thinks he's playing with her. And eventually Bruce Perry said that he's on his knees in the airport giving her like a donkey ride. And it just shows us like what we expect of the world, what we expect of other people, what we create in other people through our reaction to them or our inaction is so important. So your action today is to actively choose to see the world, to see your universe as a friendly place, is to smile at that person, is to look for the reasons why someone might be acting in that way that aren't the default, they're a dick, but actually there could be something so significant happening for them, and then seek to respond from that place and know that everything is working out for you. No matter how much you feel like something's taking you off course, it's actually aligning you perfectly for that next thing that you are going to create in your life. All right, guys, I can't wait to see you in the next one.